And hello, everyone. I'm Daren Jaime, and I'm glad to be back after a long hiatus. And yes, today is Wednesday, September 11th. You're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We want to bring our viewers in on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is now being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channel. You can also stay connected to us on social media at BronxNet TV. Well, today, America and the world remembers the terrorist attack that happened on September 11th, 2001. 4 airplanes were hijacked and hit the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a field in Pennsylvania. Over 3,000 people lost their lives and more than 6,000 injured. And BronxNet now takes a moment to reflect on the devastating events that took place on that fateful day. Well, it's been 18 years since that dreadful day, and memories are still vivid for many Bronxites. Our BronxNet cameras actually took to the streets to ask Bronx residents to reflect on their own experiences and memories of 9/11. And here what some of you had to say.
That day I was actually taking a test I'm in the Air Force Reserve, so I was actually on base taking a test when everything was going on. Suddenly everything stopped. You know, somebody walks in the room and says, "We've all been activated." So from there on, things were kind of a little hectic and crazy.
Time I was working in a group home on the night shift. 9/11 is my birthday. So I got off at 7, I went home, and I was on the phone with my daughter. I had the TV on, but it was on silent. And I kept seeing the airplane going into the thing, but I thought it was like a movie or something. So my daughter had called me to wish me happy birthday, and we was talking. And then her husband called her and was like, she worked at the World Trade Center. He was like, "You're not gonna have to go to work today because they just ran up in 9/11. I mean, ran up in World Trade Center. And she was like, what? And then she came back and told me. And I'm looking at the TV like, oh my God, this is real? Wow.
I was getting evaluated for hernia surgery. And I was in the doctor's office, and someone sitting next to me said, did you hear the Empire State Building had a plane fly into it? I was like, what? And someone turns on the news, and it was the World Trade Towers. So like everything stopped in the doctor's office, and you could hear a pin drop, and we're just sitting there watching it, and didn't even realize like 40 minutes went by.
I think it was something that was super tragic. My aunt was telling me a long time ago how she was supposed to go downtown for her job that day, and like on her way over there, like it was just this huge puff of like gray smoke that she saw. And honestly, I know so many people in my family that were supposed to be around that area when that happened, and it's like the craziest thing that by God's miracle, like they missed it.
I didn't really understand what was happening, and I got more of kind of the educational way of learning about 9/11, you know, like reading it in a textbook, and this is what happened, and now kind of seeing what that means. And I just remember it being like, my mom was real nervous, you know, my mom was real scared, like for a while wouldn't let us like go out and do stuff for a couple of weeks, and was like, that I think was more impactful than I didn't actually know what was going on.
Really, nobody knew what was going on, you know. Everybody was just kind of looking at the TV, and then when the second plane hit, that's when everybody realized it's something serious.
There was someone that her husband was downtown, he was found. All of his co-workers were never found. They were in the building when it went down. To see her reaction, to see her have survivors killed for her husband surviving was really an insight.
It shaped American culture and the way that we perceive not only people that aren't from here, but people that are here. I think it caused a lot of fear across the entire country.
Time does heal all wounds, and something like that is just something you're never gonna forget. And I feel like this is something that you can only heal with love and like learning to accept everyone else.
No amount of condolences can take away the pain that they've experienced, and it's a tragedy, and I'm sorry that they went through that.
And even if we didn't have any family members there, we still feel the pain just looking at the incidents. But
it's affected us a lot. It's changed how we operate as a city, but it's brought us closer. It has brought us closer. People are more open than they were back then. I noticed that people talk to you more. People stop and help you now. Like, it's brought us closer as a city, unfortunately, through a tragedy, but there has been some greatness that's come out of such a horrible tragedy.
Across the country, countless memorials are being held remembering 9/11, that fateful day 18 years ago. Here in the borough of the Bronx, Lehman College is holding a 9/11 remembrance on their campus. Our BronxNet reporter Jericho Tran is now live, and she brings us more details right now. Jericho, take it away.
Thank you, Daren. 18 years after the tragedy of 9/11, people around the country are gathering in remembrance of the lives lost in the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. Join us as we honor their memory here at Lehman College.
We witnessed an act of terrorism and enormous tragedy that grew out of xenophobia, ancient and modern hatreds, and intolerance. 2,977 people were killed in New York City, Washington, D.C., and outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Among them were 4 Lehman alumni, 2 caught by surprise at their work, and 2 responding with aid for those inside the burning buildings. One of the first responders was New York City firefighter Stephen Belson, known to his friends and family as Mr. Ladder 24, or simply Bells, who after earning his degree in physical education here in 1972, went on to earn a master's degree, taking classes in the evening. Mr. Bells worked as a lifeguard on a stretch of beach. He also liked to surf, and on a lark, he and his buddies took the examinations to join the fire department and make the cut to their surprise, they did. On this day 18 years ago, he rushed towards the World Trade Center to do what he'd come to love best, which was to work to save lives. Also a first responder, New York City police officer John De Alara earned a bachelor's degree in physical education here and a master's, the later as a result of night class work. And on this day 18 years ago, his was one of the first units to arrive at the scene of the smoldering World Trade Center, faithfully doing what could not have seemed routine, but was still one more time to put his life on the line to help others. And two, on this day 18 years ago, two of Lehman's own went to work, never to make it home again. Alan J. Richmond had lived a quiet life, but died on September 11th in what must have been terrifying moments of inconceivable violence. Shortly before the North Tower of the World Trade Center was struck, 24-year-old Yvette Nicole Moreno called her family from the 92nd floor where she worked for Car Futures to let them know she was on her way home. As she left the building, she was killed by debris from the South Tower. It's important that we're gathering here today to remember each of these individuals who were part of and also embodied the values of the Lehman community.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Was lost, but now
And we are back here. You were taking a look live at Lehman College at the live 9/11 memorial celebration taking place on the campus. The 9/11 tragedy, 18 years later, Lehman College, across the Bronx, many other celebrations, remembering the victims, first responders, and all those that took part in the 9/11 tragedy. We want to thank Jericho Tran for our live update. But now we have to take a quick break, and we'll have more of Open coming up as we take a moment of silence to also pay respect to those who lost their lives.